Okay, you're in your GCSE chemistry exam, and then you see it, the big 6-mark question. It can honestly be a game changer. So how do you actually lock in all 6 of those marks? Well, in this explainer, we're going to pull apart a real AQA question, look right inside the examiner's mark scheme, and build a solid strategy to make sure you get those crucial points.
Right. Here's our game plan. We'll start by looking at why these questions can feel so tough. Then, we're going to decode what the question is really asking. I'll show you the examiner's secret checklist, explain how the marking levels work, and we'll even smash through a quick calculation before wrapping it all up into a winning strategy you can use every single time. You know the feeling, right? These long evaluate-style questions can look pretty scary. You've got a blank page, a table full of data, and 6 marks just sitting there. But here's the secret. These are a massive opportunity to get ahead, but only if you know how to tackle them strategically.
So let's just stop thinking of this as some scary test of your knowledge. Instead, let's treat it like a puzzle that we're going to solve together. We're about to unlock the secrets of the mark scheme, so you'll know exactly what the examiner wants to see to give you every last point. Step 1, and this is always step 1, is to really break the question down. What's the command we're telling you to do? What info are they giving you? And what's the actual task here? Let's take a look. Okay, so let's pull this apart. There are 3 clear instructions here. First, the big one, evaluate. This isn't just list some facts. This is a direct command to weigh up the good and the bad for both materials and then make a final, reasoned judgment based on the evidence. Second, we have to use ideas from life cycle assessments. And third, and this is non-negotiable, we have to use the data from that table. And here it is. This table is our entire toolkit for this question. This is our evidence. We've got raw materials, energy numbers, mass, how many times each bottle gets used, and what happens to it at the end. Every single point you make has got to be backed up by what you see right here. So, what does a perfect 6-mark answer actually look like? The amazing thing is we don't have to guess. The official mark scheme gives us something called indicative content, and this is literally the checklist the examiner is holding, just waiting to tick off points as you make them. Let's go through it.
First up, let's talk about where this stuff comes from and how it's made. The mark scheme is looking for points like, crude oil for polymers is finite, or that quarrying for the glass materials can pollute the environment, but the really juicy marks come from using the data. Look at this. Glass uses way more energy for processing, over 6,700 kilojoules versus just 1,700 for the polymer. It also takes more energy to manufacture the bottle itself, and because it's 10 times heavier, a lot more energy to transport.
All right, next, the examiner wants to see you talk about the bottle's actual life, its use and disposal. Here's a massive win for glass. The table says it can be reused 25 times. That conserves a ton of resources. But a really smart counterpoint is that all that reuse needs energy and water for washing. And for disposal, a solid point is that both can be recycled, which is great because it saves energy and means less stuff going to landfill. And finally, there are some bigger picture points. You can mention that the energy for all this probably comes from fossil fuels, which cause pollution. A top-level move would be to actually add up the total energy from the table. You'd see glass uses a whopping 7,500 kilojoules, way more than the 1,800 for the polymer. And then, the last and most important thing on the list, a reasoned judgment. You have to make a final call and say which one you think is better and why. So listen, this is the most important part. It is not enough to just list those facts. To get into the top mark bracket, you have to weave them into a proper argument. This is what the examiner calls levels. And this lays it all out perfectly. A level 1 answer, that's 1 or 2 marks, is basically just dropping a few random points from the checklist. A level 2 answer for 3 or 4 marks starts to link them. You might say something like, glass uses more energy, but it can be reused. See the link? But for a level 3 answer, for the full 5 or 6 marks, you need a powerful judgment at the end, like, overall, the polymer bottle is better, and you back it up with a whole range of linked arguments using the data. Now, quite often after a big brain-draining question like that, you'll get a more straightforward one. It's a way for them to test a different skill. So let's quickly nail the next part of this question. It's a simple calculation for an easy 3 marks. Here we go, question 03.2. We've got a volume, we've got a density, and we just need to calculate the mass. And the best part, they even give us the formula we need. So, the question gives us the equation we need right there. No rearranging, nothing tricky. It literally tells us that mass equals density multiplied by volume. Next, we just pull the numbers from the question. The density is 0.40 grams per centimeters cubed, and the volume is 40 centimeters cubed. Easy peasy. And here's a massive exam tip for you. Always show you're working. Just writing this down, plugging the numbers into the equation correctly, often gets you a mark all by itself, even if you mess up the final calculation. So don't skip it. A quick bit of math. 0.40 times 40, and we get our final answer. 16 grams. And just like that, that's 3 marks in the bag. Nice and simple. Okay, so what have we actually learned here? We've taken that scary question apart. We've had a look at the examiner's own checklist, and we've seen how to build an answer that gets top marks. Let's boil it all down into a winning strategy that you can use on any of these evaluation questions. So here it is, your 5-step plan for success. 1, rip that question apart and find the command word. 2, use the data they give you. It's your evidence. 3, structure your answer in a logical way. 4, connect your points together to build an actual argument. And 5, you have to finish with a clear judgment that's backed up by the facts. You see, this whole approach is like a master key. It doesn't just unlock this one question. It unlocks a way of thinking. It's about learning to see the question like an examiner does and building a powerful, logical case. So take this method and use it on the next tough question you come across. You can totally do this.